You know that term. If it wasn't for bad luck, you'd have no luck at all. That's the Ottawa Senators right now. And usually when it's an injury and it's preseason, I'd throw that in the news and notes of the day. But this one's kind of a big one. Jean-Gabriel Pageau was expected to be their second line center this year. At least that's where he was penciled in. He may have ended up on a third line, ideally. I think you'd have him on your third line, but he's a heart and soul guy. And if you're gonna do a rebuild, he's the kind of guy you can have out there as one of your public faces of your team, and people like him and cheer for him. He's got an underdog story to him. He's a good guy. And at practice drill yesterday, he rolled over on his ankle and tore his Achilles tendon, which will require surgery and at least minimum 6 months of rehab and reconditioning to get him back onto skates. And of course, we're in September, so 6 months from now is March, and that's the minimum. So his season is over before it started. And if you're a Senators fan, I've got some good news and some bad news for you. The good news is I was gonna do a video today on who's still on the roster from when they got knocked out by Pittsburgh last spring and what they got for everybody that they've traded or lost as free agents. But the bad news is now I got to write something next to Pageau's name, sort of with an asterisk, because now they're down another player. So it doesn't really matter whether or not some of these kids are ready to play. They're playing because there's not a whole lot of people ahead of them who are pure talent goal scoring types. And not to say that Pageau was that either, but Pageau has a number of years of experience all in Ottawa. Uh, Last season, 14 goals, 15 assists, 29 points. The year before that, he had 12 goals, 21 assists, 33 points. The year before that, 19 goals, 24 assists, 43 points. And of course, in the 2017 playoffs, he had 8 goals and 2 assists in 19 games, which was, what made him kind of a folk hero to the Ottawa Senators fans. And now it's done. I don't have good news this morning at all. It's not good news, and I apologize for that. But to me, it's another blow if you're a Senators fan. Carlson's out, and now um, Pageau's out, and that's no slam to Tierney and DeMello, who came over from San Jose, and potentially Norris, who I'm pretty sure doesn't have an NHL contract yet. Anyways, it's quite the disaster that's been going on in Ottawa, and you have to wonder whether Eugene Melnick is upset at this news or if he's going, yeah, it's fine. It's a dumpster, anyways. It's in a dumpster. It's dumpster-ish, and I've heard that there's fire in said dumpster, but that's the word on the street. Word on the street has it. Well, word on the street has it that Pageau's out for a minimum of 6 months. And, consensus seems to be that Ottawa didn't get enough back for a guy who was the face of their franchise. And, there were people who were talking about the draft picks that came back. A lot of that's conditional. And there's some weird conditions in there too. But, geez, guys like Pageau were supposed to help soften that blow. The one thing that for me as a fan of some pretty bad teams over the years has made me feel better about it, and this includes Ottawa. In the early 90s they were awful, but they worked really hard. Yeah, there's bad teams that are just lazy, and then there's bad teams that are just bad, but they work really hard and they give it their heart, they give it their most every night. And Pageau is one of those guys who will give you their best every night on the ice, and it's too bad. This could have been a 20-goal season for him. The ice time's there if he wants it, and yeah, now we won't know until next year. Again, it's a shame, and it's one of those things. When it rains, it pours in Ottawa, I guess. It is. Ottawa really knows how to fall apart. I remember, the early '90s it being really really bad for 4 or 5 years, And then they went through another pretty lean period after that, but this is just ugly. So, anyways, sorry to be a harbinger of bad news this morning. I promise it will not all be bad news for me this morning. But, once again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. I will talk to you guys again soon, and I promise it won't be a downer. I don't know how I can promise that because it's just I'm reporting it as it comes out. I'm going to try my best to make sure it's not a downer. I'll talk to you again soon.